What are some pros and cons of living in El Cerrito? Alright, so one pro that families say about El Cerrito is that they know which school their child's going to go to, rather than it be a lottery system like other schools or other school districts. So even though the schools are not as highly rated as Albany or some of the Berkeley elementary schools, they don't have to go through a lottery system to figure out where their kids will go. So Fairmont School, for example, on gradeschools.org is rated 5 out of 10, as is one of the other elementary schools. The most highly rated elementary school is Miramar Elementary, which is in the Hillside area. It's a 7 out of 10. Now this is the middle school in El Cerrito, and interestingly on gradeschools.org it has a score of 4 out of 10, but the test scores are 7 out of 10, and one reason it has such a poor overall score is because of the equity score. I'll talk about that in a breakdown video of school rankings. Now there's still a lottery system for the charter schools, like Montessori Family School and Crestmont. El Cerrito is very family friendly. I always see families biking, skateboarding, walking together in the hills and in the flats. There's Cerrito Vista Park, which holds the One World 4th of July celebration every year. There's a civic theater right across from the community center where there's a pool and classes. There's a child care collective for preschool. You've got lots of sidewalks for strollers even in the hills. That's a plus. That's not necessarily something you get in other hilly neighborhoods or high elevation neighborhoods. The con is that if you have children riding their bikes or you're riding your bike to BART, it's a little bit difficult to get around on a bike if you're living in the hills. So another pro of El Cerrito is the recycling center, which is highly organized. You can come here to drop off clothing, household items, battery recycling, metal. It's not open on Mondays, but that's one pro of living at least close to this or in El Cerrito. I come over here to recycle items I otherwise can't in Oakland, in Emeryville. So another pro of living in El Cerrito is that you have tons of green space, walking trails, this area next to the recycling center. There's another park, and I'm going to take you over there right now. So one con and concern by some folks is wildfires. There haven't been any recent wildfires in El Cerrito, but the problem is when PG&E shuts off the power to prevent wildfires, parts of the hills in El Cerrito will be part of that planned shutoff. Another pro is this greenway, which a lot of people use to walk, bike, jog, rollerblade, skateboard, and you can see it's around 5. There are lots of people already out exercising. There are some kids parks along the way. So pro is that there's lots of wildlife. There are deer, gophers. I saw some raccoons. Here's some raccoons here. Skunks. There are wild turkeys. And a con is that there's lots of wildlife. There's lots of deer, gophers, raccoons, and skunks. So neighbors who have fruit trees, people who have fruit trees and grow food have to work really hard to protect their fruit. So one pro, there's gonna be a lot of noise behind me, but one pro is that there are 2 El Cerrito BART stations. This one's El Cerrito Plaza, and you can tell there's a lot of traffic going back and forth. It's a little past 5. So it's transit oriented, like you can get to Oakland and SF within 15 to 20 minutes on the BART or on AC Transit, but there's also a casual carpool in North Berkeley or El Cerrito near the 99 Ranch Market. But the con is the traffic on the 80 is really bad if you're driving from El Cerrito to the city. There are a few times a year there isn't traffic on the 80. There's always a wait. I mean, I used to go to the gym in El Cerrito, and I'd have to get there early enough so that I wasn't hitting the traffic coming back to Oakland on the 80. You can't hear the BART right now, but that is one disadvantage of being so close to the El Cerrito Plaza BART is the noise. That's also a pro though, because you can walk to the BART. You don't have to worry about parking, because this house especially has a garage. Pro, the El Cerrito Plaza BART station has pretty good parking if you get there before 8:30 a.m. Con, the El Cerrito Plaza BART parking lots have been approved to be developed into housing. So the BART Board of Directors announced that they're going to construct 780 units on that site, which will include a new public library. 37% of the units will be affordable to families of 4 making less than $104,000 a year, which is above the median income currently for El Cerrito residents. So pro, the residents say the city is relatively well run. The El Cerrito police are very responsive when it comes to property crime. And that's not the case with every city in the East Bay. So this is El Cerrito Plaza. There's a lot of convenient shopping here, especially if you live in the flats and close to the Plaza BART. They are developing around here. Unfortunately, there's a lot of property crime or car crime. It's just like there would be near any parking lot in an urban center, more so than there would be in the hills. Another pro I would argue for El Cerrito is the centrality of the police and public works. There's a police and fire here for public safety. Here's the public works office, and the DMV is just that way. So another pro of living in El Cerrito are the views. Here are the views from the hills. You can see the city, you can see the Golden Gate Bridge. So the con is, especially if you live in the hills and you have these views, it takes you a while to get down to the 80, to the BART, to these other picturesque locations you can see from the hills. So El Cerrito is surrounded by a ton of East Bay cities. It's right in the middle of Richmond, Kensington, Albany. It's past Berkeley and Oakland, Emeryville. It's not as convenient as living in that side of the East Bay because you can get on the 80 and get to San Francisco quickly. Hey, thanks for watching. I'll have more videos like this every week. Hit the subscribe button below. If you have any questions about moving to El Cerrito or any East Bay city, my contact information is below. Give me a call.